Hey guys, it's me again, Wolves, and this will be the starting of the new series of What If Belle? What if Belle was like a young Gandalf? Now, I did some thinking on this one, and this is how I'm gonna have it play out real quick. I'm gonna try and include some of the things about Gandalf, like how he's I'm pretty sure he's very good friends with the elves and such, and I won't have him be exactly like Gandalf, because if any of you know, I'm pretty sure Gandalf's the equivalent of an angel in The Lord of the Rings. That he was sent by the gods to, help humanity. Well, help the good world, like the good folk and such. Like the elves, dwarves, and all of them. And that's actually one of the reasons why he sailed with the elves back to the Undying Lands, is because he fulfilled what he was charged with. The only one, actually, who fulfilled it. Sauron turned against them, Radagast the Brown turned against them, and the two blue wizards, we don't know their names, just disappeared. Gandalf was the only one to ever uphold his oath, or what he was charged with. I won't be having that, so, yes. What will be happening now is that Deku, well, not Deku, but Belle is born. I will be calling him Belle, just so you know. Belle is born, and from a very young age, he shows, from 5 years old, shows an aptitude for some magic. It's very poor, because I don't know mages and such, because it seems like a lot of them need some sort of thing, like either a wand or a staff to, be very effective when it comes to magic casting. But I'll say Belle has somewhat of a rare ability to not always needing some sort of catalyst, like a staff. He can use it without it. But I'll say it's just more difficult to. What happens now is Belle goes around his life doing whatever. From when he's young, very young, he even uses a shielding spell to save himself from not save himself, but to save some little kids from a thing of snow that was going to fall on top of them. He pretty much focused and used it. His parents knew from a young age he had these magical abilities, or he was magical in essence. He had gift for it, or just naturally born with it. So what Belle will be doing is that he'll one day go out just looking for adventure. Gandalf is adventurous. He's also very fun and loving in some ways, like the grandfather persona he has, where he walks around and such and actually just helps people and just talks with people, making everyone happy, because that's what he does truly enjoy. That being said, one day he actually finds a stick and pretends it's his wizard staff, and this is a pretty small stick, guaranteed. So he starts waving around I'm a wizard, and he pretends to be a legitimate wizard. He has magic, but he's not a wizard yet. He plays around with this stuff, and even uses it as a stick. His dad was a retired adventurer, you could say. Not an Aurario one, but he did do some work. Did travel around and such, and he does actually want Belle to learn the way of the sword, because he thinks to himself that Belle has this magic, but if he can't ever focus on how to use it or is proficient with it, he needs a way to protect himself. So from somewhat of a young age, Belle's father trains him with wooden swords or sticks. It says you guard, then you slice. And when Belle comes back with this giant stick, he's like, "Hey Dad, look, I found a stick. It's my staff." It's that's good, Belle. Now, come on. We gotta return to your training, It's alright. As Belle keeps the stick, as he uses it like Gandalf would in the movies, how he uses it to, bat away weapons and such. And he, actually ends up getting, a few little pokes on his dad. His dad's like, "Well done, Belle. That's good. Good. Now let's continue training." Belle would continue learning a few of the sword and magic. Eventually, a wandering wizard comes through and Belle actually asked him some questions when he finally learns about him. He's like, "Oh, hey, Dad, I gotta go real quick." As he wanders off, the wizard's staying in town for a little bit. Sorry. He talks with Belle. Belle actually talks with him, and I'll say Belle's around 10 at this time. His father was training him since he was like, I don't know, 7. And 10, forgive me. I'll say he's like, what? 13. I think that's a nice age. And he speaks with this so-called wizard. Belle and a bunch of children are like asking him, "Are you really a wizard? If so, can you prove it?" As he like floats a few of them in the air. Belle actually eventually comes over asking him, "So how do you like do all that like much more easily? Don't seem to struggle." The wizard, who I'll say is Saruman, I'll just say it, he's Saruman. Belle ask him, Belle will ask him, god damn, that's such a difficult word. Belle questions him, there we go, that's a better word. Questions him on, is there like any actual wording? Is it just something you can do without any chanting, or what? Saruman questions like, what do you want to know? He's like, I got a little bit of magic, but he's like, He says, alright, show me what you can. He's like, I can't really do anything, like I'm not really skilled. It's like, well, for the first part, the fact that you have magic since when? He's like, I showed it when I was like 7 or 5. It's like, that is good. Come. As he takes Belle out to a field and starts telling him some words to chant and some how to do things correctly. Belle talks about his shield. He's like, good. Alright. So Saruman kind of taking a liking to Belle real quick, like in a short amount of time, but Belle does the same thing to him. He brings him somewhat of a stick, like a very large staff. He's like, or he can't keep an extra staff on me. So, take this and focus. Focus on making a shield around you. And I will throw stones at you using magic. Like, alright. As Belle's standing there focusing, thinking, I need a shield. As in, how do we know if it's working? Well, this way. He grabs a rock and chucks it at Belle. It bounces off. It's like, well done. Good. Now, for this. As he walks over and grabs his staff. Now, focus. As then he chants a few words and sends a light magic attack against Belle. Belle's like, oof. He feels the force of it much better. Much more than it did like a little rock. It's like, That wasn't a strong spell, but the fact your barrier is still holding says something. He's like, I'll be staying here for a few months. We'll come out here every day, and I'll teach you more about magic and the fundamentals. Understood? Like, yes, sir. Like, now keep the staff. Train on your own time as well. Well, not keep the staff, but I'll take the staff back, and we'll meet here again tomorrow. Belle's like, yes, sir. Its name is Saruman. Sorry, Saruman the White. It's a thing about wizards. Deal with it. It's like, yes, sir. As he sort of returns home, he's like, well, Saruman, I'll say, does take a liking. Like I said, take a liking to Belle. It may seem weird to have Belle being trained by Saruman, but just go with it, please. Belle returns home and actually tells his father, his mother and his father, about what just happened. Belle's excited, really excited. They're like, well, that's good for you. Now come, before Now let's see. As Belle and his family sit down for a nice dinner, Belle's father wakes Belle up even earlier than before, saying, "Come on, we must train." He's like, "What?" As he gets Belle up, he's like, "No, this is more akin to an actual sword. It's an actual metal sword, but the sides are dull, so you won't be stabbing his father." Like, yes, sir. As he's like, "Now remember what I taught you. Try to stay low and try to always be on the defensive, looking for ways to get in. So, alright, now come at me." Belle moves in slowly and then rushes his father in a quick motion, but isn't like blinding fast. He just like moves in close as fast as he could and is able to sort of launch the attack, but his father's sword is already in the way. So, Belle is focusing, actually legitimately focusing, and trying to actually legitimately hit his father, using a lot of his strength. He's like, "Stop using too much strength in one swing. Keep on doing that, you're gonna tire yourself out." As then they like cross swords and Belle's father trips him and Belle falls onto the ground. He's like, again. He's like, "Come on, Belle, I know you can do this, now focus." As he keeps on doing it until Belle's like, alright. That'll be the end of today. If some of you are wondering why Belle is now on his butt, it's because, well, before his father was taking it easy on him, he was still a kid. No, actually. Yeah, he was like younger then, so he wasn't as strong, but Belle is trying to grow up now and to get taller. So his father's putting a bit more force into it, you could say. Belle is constantly training with his father, and he goes to meet with Saruman every day. Saruman teaches him more and more about magic, and teaches him chanting, how to tell when you're reaching your limit and may pass out due to how much magic you have used. As he explains it to him in great detail. It's like, okay, so how do you know when you're starting to reach your limit? Well, you'll tell because you'll start to feel weak, maybe a bit drowsy. So, is there any way to raise this? It's like constant practice and active use of magic will help you, yes. But it ain't gonna do you leaps and bounds. It'll merely get you enough to the point where you improve enough. And now he says, "Now your shield technique," as he's like, yes. As he grabs the staff and shows him, and Saruman launches several, I'd say instead of light attacks, they're still classified as light like light attacks, meaning that they don't hit as hard as some other spells, but he boosts them up to a degree. As Belle's shield takes it very well, and actually Belle doesn't falter once. Over these 2 weeks, Belle has learned quite a lot, and has done great mastery with this defensive spell. So, Saruman's like, next. Sorry. Next, Saruman, I forget his name. Saruman says this. Alright. Next spell is an offensive one. It just sends a thing of force at your opponent. It's very easy. Now watch. As he shows them, and it can be done with your staff. As he goes up to a very relatively thick tree, and like sort of jabs it with his, sort of goes like thrust forward with his staff, as it splinters the tree, at least that, like a decent chunk of the tree. But I was like, whoa. Like, now, you go. Start on that rock right there. It's like, alright. As he's like, keep steady, and remember, imagine it's breaking apart. A lot of it's active knowledge and imagination. As then he says, now, lot. As he thrusts his staff forward, it sort of touches the boulder, then it kind of makes a nice little boom, like a little pow, where rocks blast off. It's a small area, but if it was done to a person, it would hurt. Bell says, I did it. He's like, yes. We'll be training on using this for a little while. Do not forget about your other magic, though. Defensive and offensive magic are just as important as any other. I'll also try to teach you some other types of magic. As when Bell is walking away, it's like grown very dark. Bell's like, man, it's too... As he says, here, since it's dark, I'll teach you this magic. As he talks about that light spell, as he shows Bell how to use it, and he creates a ball of light that floats up around Bell. He's like, simple. Now go on. As Saruman returns to his nice little thing, and Bell returns to his family. They've eaten, Bell's food's on the table, and it's cold. Bell's father understands Bell actually is taking this very seriously. And Bell's like 13, if I remember. Bell's like, and he's happy. He's really happy. He hasn't had this much fun in a little while. He enjoys training with his dad, but now he's actually getting magic training. A few months passed. Bell, not months, but another couple of weeks passed. Bell gets very proficient with that whole shatter move. I'll just call it that. He uses the magic he has regularly, trying to like boost himself. He even has his dad at home throwing stuff at him, like seeing if his thing still holds up, as the rocks are coming at him at actually a very high impact. It's just that they bounce off. As they like hit his thing, it just bounces off. And then his dad is also training him to deal with swordplay, even more so, taking it more and more serious on Bell. Not to the point where it's like, oh, he's outclassing Bell. He just more or less is training him, like I said. So he gets him used to a swing and has Bell speed up or slow down or try to land an attack or survive assaults from his father. So as he's blocking, his father's constantly telling him, look for an opening just when it's about to happen. And his father leaves an opening, as when he moves to the left, as he does that, he somewhat slows down to try and show Bell. Bell actually sees this, and actually as the left goes to the right, as he swings from the left, Bell immediately kicks his leg and then grabs his sword hand and brings him down to his knees, having the fake sword press on Bell's father's shoulder. He's like, well done, Bell. See? Knew you'd get it eventually. See? That's how it's done. Now, I believe it's time, as it's like, there's an attack! Attack inbound! As I'll say, orcs are a thing in this world. So, yes. It's like, orcs. Cowardly scum. They come for us. Bell, grab your mother and get them. We go to the town square. Me and the guards will come and help. It's like, yes, sir. As he grabs his mother, and Bell's father actually throws him a real sword. I've been training you every day. Don't mess it up. It's like, yes, sir. Bell's father quickly runs inside and grabs some of his armor, you would say. It's very lightweight armor, but still armor. As he puts it on, he's like, alright. Bell and them all running. Saruman was about to head to Bell in his training spots when they heard the whole horns. Saruman returns to it. He's like, what is going on? There's an orc raiding party heading this way. The town guard and the captain, let's see, I'll just say the captain of the guard are preparing their defensive right away. He's like, tell me which direction. I shall assist them. I am very educated in the ways of magic, and am no rookie to a fight. My power could exceptionally help. He's like, oh, very well. As it's like, hey, Bell, show the wizard to the way. He's like, yes, sir. As he's like, oh, Master Saruman. It's like, Bell, show me to the way. Yes, sir. As they're running, Bell, as Saruman takes the staff, like his backup staff, and hands it to Bell, he's like, use it. If the time comes, he's like, yes, sir. As he draws his sword as they're running. It's like, do you have a sword? My father teaches me every day how to train with the sword. We never knew if someone with magic would come. He's 13 at this point. I just remembered that. Well, it's not a sword, but more or less short sword, like a sting size. And he's like showing, he's like, it's that way, sir. He's like, well, Bell, go back to your mother. Me and the soldiers will handle this. Yes, sir. As he quickly runs back, he's like, how may I be of assistance? He's like, we got an orc raiding party. At least they number in their 30s. There's a few warg riders, and that's about it. No trolls, no goblins, just orcs. From, we don't know. We think they're just a wandering band. Nowhere to go. They just ravage any place they find, happen across. He's like, I can be of assistance. I wish for you all to stand behind me. As there's like, a scout comes back, sir, they're here. It's like, very well, prepare for battle. As they're like, follow the wizard men. As when they launch, several arrows come launching over, like at least a dozen, Saruman puts up a shield and they all are blocked. As he then sends a fireball right directly into at one of a warg rider, as it bursts into flames, just running all around. At this point, Bell and the people are in the town center, as Bell's like, oh. As they hear a few, like a little, some children screaming, as an orc's chasing them. One of the crafty guys went all the way around, seeing if they could come around the flanks. Bell's like, run! As he's like, does anyone else know how to use a sword? Bell, like, draws his, like, little sword. Charging at him like Merry and Pippin. Sorry, I just find that funny. Rushing forward, the orc's like, oh, look at this. A little Radawan has some fun. As Bell's, like, uses that shatter move, like, quickly thrusting it forward and doing it to the guy, his chest, he feels it inward, as there's just like a right on the inside of his chest cavity, as he just falls over. Bell's like, go, return back. With that being said, Bell's father and Saruman are actually having a successful time of dealing with this orc raiding party. Saruman uses his staff to bash some of the orcs, and Bell's sword skills are actually well enough that his armor doesn't really matter at this point. He just slices through them and slices at their necks, like Aragon in a way. As he does that, Saruman's like, you fight well. You look like Bell. It's like, sorry, damn. He says, you must be Saruman. I am Bell's father. He's like, oh, 'tis a pleasure to meet you. Your son is very skilled, and from what I guess, in the sword and in the wizard world, and with magic. Never before have I met someone as skilled as him. I can tell if he keeps on pursuing the magic goal, he shall indeed become a fine wizard. He's like, thank you. He does actually really enjoy his classes with you. It's like, it is good then. A lot of the skills I have taught him will be useful if he ever does traveling. Orcs, trolls, and even wild wargs always target those who are by themselves. Anyways, as they continue forward, a few more orcs that have snuck around come at Bell. Bell slices at their legs and ends them. Since he has a smaller size, he uses it to his advantage by, like, slicing at the knees, getting them on their knees, and if any of them have an arrow to, Bell puts up, like, a nice little shield. He hasn't learned any magic like fireballs or anything, He learned a bit of telekinesis from Saruman, as he at one point is on his back, as when he notices it, he using his staff, he's like, "Oh, what's a little runt gonna do? I got you from your belly up." As then Bell notices a brick where he's under, he points his staff towards it, moves it over a tiny bit, and drops it on the orc's head. As the orc feels it and pretty much comes crashing down, Bell immediately rolls over, grabs his sword, and finishes it off. Bell's sort of in a dazed state, you could say, being like, what the... He's never fought an orc, let alone killed anything, so... But he has heard the stories of how orcs are cruel and terrible creatures, which is true. And he talks about how nobody in the village actually knows how they came about. They just know they've always been. As then the sound of... Sorry for the sound effects. It's the sound, and then all the orcs started to retreat. But it doesn't make sense in Saruman's or Bel's father's eye. How would they be organized enough to have a thing for retreating? So as they think this over, alright, get everyone packed. As Saruman and them come back, they see a few orcs scattered here and there, taken out by either their chest cavity kind of looking like it's dented inward, only 4. And then there's the one on the ground that Bell got. As they look over, they see Bell. It's his father's like, "Bell, are you okay?" He's like, "Hi, I'm fine. He's like, as his father looks at his sword, "Oh, you must have been the one taking out those few orcs." He's like, yes. Well done." And Saruman says, "Did you use any of the magic?" He's like, "I used the splintering one. And the telekinesis drop a brick on one other." It's like, "That is well done. Very versatile, as you can see." As Bell's father then says, "We are leaving." If the orcs are organized to have some form of knowing when to retreat or when to attack, they have to have some organization, especially if it's a horn. Or maybe we're overreacting, it's wrong, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. It's it is wise. It is wise, Captain. Now, let us get your family and all of them packed. I will watch over and see this." As then Bell and all of them are packed up and ready to go. As Bell says, "So where are we going?" There's another few villages that way. They are protected by a lord, so we'll check there. As then they wander off and start walking off to the thing. That's where I'm going to be ending it off on. I hope y'all enjoy this. Tell me what you thought of this episode. Did you like it? If so, tell me. And if you didn't, also tell me. Anyways, I hope y'all have enjoyed this. Hope y'all continue to enjoy this. And I hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.